biggest threat that I have had or shared with in an octagon, because he is somebody that really brings it, and he doesn't really care to get punched, or to even if some of his strategy doesn't work, he's persistent, and that is something that can mentally break people. And we prepared for a lot of things, not only the physical part but also the mental part of this game. I every time I think of that, I know it's going to be a challenge, but I must admit, usually my biggest successes I had were when the challenge was high. So yes, I'm looking forward for that.
And last time back in Berlin, I remember you had a nice speech for the German crowd straight after you won. Have you got anything similar planned? Are you going to be whipping the crowd up into another frenzy again?
Maybe I have. Maybe I have. Of course, it depends a little bit on the moment, and you gotta like seize the moment and be in the moment at that time. But you know, usually my imagination starts going into the locker room and end with the speech. So the whole thing is like something I. But you know, don't go ahead. If you want to make God laugh, you know, tell him about your plans. So let's be more in the moment this time.
So like you mentioned, Taehyun Bang, he has a very, kind of unpredictable, wild style, and he, like you said, he doesn't really care about what happens. You said you're trying to prepare for the physical and mental aspects, but how exactly do you get a sparring partner who can have that sort of wild, unpredictable style?
We have a variety of, especially in the stand-up, of sparring partners in Los Angeles, and like Anthony was briefing them like exactly how to do it. And if he didn't like what they did, and if it didn't look like what he felt like it should look like, he stopped the sparring, and then he took them to him and he said, "Man, push him, go wild, don't go back." And I remember those sparring sessions being really horrible because. You exchange training partners, they are fresh and they always do like crazy shit, and of course your approach to that doesn't always work, especially at the beginning of a camp, you know. So I remember this training camp being very challenging for me. So man, I couldn't have done more, you know. I'm pretty sure we maximized our opportunities.
And you've really become a little bit of a poster boy for like German UFC. It feels like you're kind of a German UFC fighter that we're promoting. We're sending you abroad, like we've sent you to Stockholm and such. How do you feel about taking that role, about being sort of a new German face of the UFC?
I appreciate that role, and I appreciate all the aspects that come with that, because I basically get the chance to speak to media not only at the events but like outside of the events. I was a police officer that also brought a lot of attention. And look, I just wrote an article about the police force that really went viral, and I was at that time in Thailand, and they flew me back to be in German media, and it had nothing to do with MMA. They don't even mention that. So I got an additional audience like attracted to that, and I'm releasing a book about that topic that has nothing to do with MMA at the end of the year, which is going to also cause some attention. So basically, I think I fit that role quite well, and the UFC kind of also maybe realized that, or enjoys the fact that I'm also like a little bit independent in that case, and so I like that.
And how much of your stardom would you attribute to the UFC though? Because like you probably wouldn't have reached as big of a point without it, because now you got to be on the big stage octagon and send your events live. How much of your stardom would you say is because of the UFC?
Of course, everything started with the UFC. You know, you can count that back when you see like your followers on Facebook, as soon as the contract came and got official, it boosted, and then like the media focused on that because suddenly there was this police officer being they use the word cage fighter, and then it's like, again, like it boosts, like, man, who is that? Of course, it all started with that, and I appreciate the process, and I think it is an opportunity if you use that. Yes.
And it seems like, you know, every single interview almost is brought up, you know, the whole police officer thing is brought up. And do you ever get tired of like, you like ever feel like, okay guys, I get it, but I'm a UFC fighter as well. Like do you feel like too much focus is placed on the police part?
I think in Germany right now also like the sports of MMA and the UFC benefits from that, because what people need to understand in Germany, if you want to establish a sports like mixed martial arts, you need to get to the people, and you need to make the people understand that we are human beings, and then that is the biggest challenge that we had to pass to bring the sports to the boulevard media, to the normal media, and the normal people at home. So I think that is something that comes with it, and I'm totally okay with that.
And so now that you're being promoted more, we got to see you on UFC on the fly and stuff. We got to see your family as well. You know, like how did your wife and child react to see, you know, being on these video segments on YouTube?
She, I mean, she was there from day one when nobody stuck a microphone in my face and nobody wanted to talk to me. And now she sees how, because she was with me in the baddest and like poorest and darkest times, and now she's with me when everything is like kind of a little bit more attractive also outside of the fighting, and she's okay with that. She doesn't really like to jump in front of the camera, but she did an awesome job, and basically we are just, you know, we are just being ourselves. That is, I think that is also something that is important. I really try not to be fake in any way. Sometimes people criticize me for that. They say you shouldn't tell that, or some people said I shouldn't even have told anyone about the injury, because, you know, it can also be used to your disadvantage. But we have the saying in Germany, I have my heart on my tongue, meaning like I say everything that is in my mind, and I'm not really good in pretending. So yeah, so that's basically how it is.
Well, yeah, we'll just finish. Without the pretending, then, you know, what do you feel is your biggest advantage against Bang?
My team and my family, because we have been through a lot of things together, and this gives you sometimes that you just know it, you know. I can't really describe it, but you just know it. So I know he has a long reach, he's taller, he's this and that, but there's something you can't describe sometimes, and this is basically the people that are around me, and I can't describe it.
Well, thank you very much. Good luck.
Thank you.